Hey friends, welcome to my podcast, Before and After. My name is Kristie Polk, I'm your host, and here we talk about navigating grief before and after the loss of a loved one. Whether you've lost someone yourself or if you find yourself supporting a close friend or family member who's experiencing loss, I hope you find something really meaningful in the following episode.
And then we got back, we got Sessa, which was, I think, very helpful for you.
Oh, that I feel like was life-saving.
Yeah.
And I have so many pictures of us just laying together and snuggled, and her little nose up here, or her laid across my neck and my chest, and just, I mean, we just sort of, I just remember, and it could be over months, I don't have a timeline, but just us sort of snuggled up in the bed together, just, it felt like we were both crying. Just
You were.
We definitely grieved together. I mean,
Yes.
that dog was very obviously grieving.
Yeah.
She was unsettled. I had to put her on anxiety medicine. I mean,
She
it
was with her when she passed.
She was, and that haunts me.
All day.
That
Laying
haunts me.
there, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that haunts me.
For her, but it comforts me for Bray.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm saying it
yeah.
comforts me that Braylon wasn't alone.
Yeah.
And it even comforts me for Cess because now she has you. Which is the closest thing she's going to get to Bray, and she has come so far.
Oh, she has.
And helping you, and you helping her, and
Yeah, both.
just being a support.
Yeah. Yeah. No, she's.
Yeah, and do you
she was a
remember
gift.
initially the plan was...
She would go with Mackenzie?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and there was this, we
I
were
s-
building a
But
fence
she
and
kept
everything.
saying the whole
and-
time. You kept
Yeah.
saying the whole time. I don't know if I'll be able to let her go.
I don't know if I can let her go.
I don't know if I can let her go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Mackenzie was like, "Well, that's okay. I mean, we'll build the fence anyway." And like, no, you won't.
No.
It's not going.
It was
She's
a
not
good try.
going. Yeah.
No.
And then the next thing I remember, I'm sure, was really from my perspective,
Yeah.
trying to move things along in a way that needed to happen.
Yeah, well, because you knew in a couple days we've got to have this event.
Right.
We've got to have this.
Well,
And
people
again,
just kept
Bray's
coming in,
still at
coming
the
in,
morgue.
coming in.
Oh. See, I didn't even. Yeah.
Well, and I kept I would mention it to you, and you'd say, Mackenzie wants to handle that. Mackenzie's handling that.
Okay.
And then I would ask Mackenzie, and he's like, yeah, I'm going to call the, because she had an autopsy. And so no,
She did
She
not
had
have
toxicology.
toxic, yes.
Yes.
And we were waiting for
Because
the
the
results.
autopsy
yes.
would have taken too long, and we would have had
Right.
to push the funeral, and we didn't want to do
And
that.
and he was like, we're waiting, and he was anticipating them to call him.
Oh,
And finally, I was like, honey, they're not going to call you. You need to call them.
yeah.
And he's like, okay, I will. And I was like, you need to do that. And I had to get a little firm with him.
Right.
Because it was like the fifth time.
Yeah.
And I finally said, either you need to call him or I'm going to. Because we've got.
Yeah.
And
Had to move.
they were like, yeah, I mean, so I got him on the phone.
Okay.
And I think he called. And then it started into some logistical stuff, and he handed me the phone as far as who's coming to get her. And we talked about funeral homes, and so I started making all of those arrangements.
That was one of the things I loved, too, is that no decision was made by one person.
No.
I mean, every
It was collective.
single decision, you guys, you four, I mean, because y'all included Liz and
Yeah.
all that. And, of course, we were on the outside listening, like, what's our next step? What's our next move? Like, even with the autopsy, should we not? We can, but then it was and you finally said, it's not going to bring her back.
Right. We're gonna wait.
It's not going to bring
We're
her
gonna
back.
have this weird sense of.
And
some
people were
strange
like,
hope
but don't
and-
you want to know? And
I
you
knew.
said, it's not going to matter. I know where she is now, and I'm going
Right.
to see her again. And so that was, that's probably the question I get the most is, what happened, and did they do an autopsy? And I'm like, no, why? Because it wasn't going to bring her back.
It wasn't.
I
It's
mean,
not.
Right.
yeah.
It's not, and I since I knew him and I knew that, and he admitted it, and
Right.
You had the
I
answer.
knew
Yeah.
it was fentanyl. And I mean, not that she had had that before, but I just knew
Right.
that's exactly what had happened.
Yep.
And it was beautiful, but sometimes almost for me it was very hard because I had to get a little pushy.
Yeah.
To get things, because it
Right.
was,
It's too many decision makers or too many.
and nobody
No
that
decision.
really.
Nobody wanted to make a decision.
Right, because every decision made it more real.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
so that was such a fine line, because I wanted to serve you all.
Yeah.
But I had to push you to serve you.
Yes. Yeah. But you
So-
did. It was great. It was.
It was just really hard.
Yes,
and
I'm
hard
sorry.
to know
Yeah.
how hard to push. I mean,
Right.
I never wanted it to be she's not respecting our time or our grief
Right.
or
Right.
I just want and I didn't want to take on things that somebody wanted to do.
Right.
But I wanted to do all the things that you didn't
Didn't want to
Yes.
do. Exactly.
Yeah, but how do you know what those are, right?
Exactly.
And
you
you
just
don't.
jump in and start. Yeah.
But you were really good about. I mean, I asked a lot.
yeah.
And
yeah.
when I couldn't ask you, I'd ask Robin, and
Yeah.
we would make the decision together.
Yeah.
And it was.
Yeah.
it
We
was
made
all-
probably about half of the decisions
I'm sure.
together.
Yeah.
Because
a
it
lot of-
wasn't like
Huge
life changing,
stuff, right.
but it was stuff that had to be done
Yeah.
and that we knew you wouldn't necessarily care about.
Right.
I just remember my biggest thing was 10 minutes. I had this like 10-minute ticker in me, and it was like, Harry's been gone 10 minutes, I have to go find him. Kristie's been gone 10 minutes, what's Mackenzie's been gone. And it's like I had this had like a tracker in my
Yeah.
head on y'all, and I only had to go get Harry once. He disappeared into the bedroom, and I was like,
I remember that.
I don't know what
I
he's
do.
doing.
Now that you say it, I do remember
He's
that.
been gone too
He was
long
bawling with
because
me.
I wanted y'all to grieve, but I didn't want you to fall in a pile. You can't. There are people here. We've got things to do, And I went in, and he was laid over. He was slumped over, and I laid on him,
Yeah.
like on his side.
I know what
Didn't
you
sound
mean.
very well, but anyway, that didn't sound correctly. Whatever, bad grammar now too. So I'm nervous.
I knew exactly
He
what you meant.
slumped over on the bed, and
Yeah.
I just laid like my hands
Yeah.
on his ribs,
Yeah.
and I said, I know you don't think you're going to make it, but you are. We're here. We love you. We've got you.
Yeah.
Cry all you need to cry, but you can't do it by yourself. And I remember telling him that you can't do it by yourself. I'm sorry, you've had your 10 minutes.
Right.
Trying to, almost snap him out of it, but and he did. He got it together, and he came out, and I did that for you the day of the funeral. I was like, I know she's in there getting dressed, but she's been in there too long. She's
When she
moving
was
too
doing her
slow.
hair and
I don't
stuff.
know what she's doing. Yeah, and
All
you
I
were
could think of-
trying to curl your hair.
And I thought, who cares? Doing my hair right now seems so dumb.
Everything seems so
Everything.
unimportant.
Yes.
Everything felt so dumb.
But it was a stitch in time, and
But it was just
you
like-
needed to look good, friend.
Yeah, but I mean, I thought, who cares?
Right. You didn't.
I could not
did
have
not.
cared less.
Everything you were doing
Do you know
was
what you're
more
going to wear?
habitual.
I don't care. Dresses are dumb. Like everything was dumb.
Right.
I mean, it was so
What do you want to
meaningless.
eat? I don't care.
And
But you gotta eat
and
something. So here's a plate.
Flowers kept showing up to the house, and I kept thinking, these are beautiful, but my daughter and her existence has been reduced to these stupid flowers.
Yeah.
This is what's left. It all felt so dumb. Yeah, and it was. But you're right. I mean,
Yeah.
but people were going to remember how you showed up or whatever. So I was like, well, and you want to honor her. You don't want to be an embarrassment like that's her mom.
Yeah.
Or whatever. But
Wow, she's a wreck. Nobody would ever say that. I can tell you that. I mean, ever, never.
But it was, oh my gosh. Anyway, yeah, that's all I just couldn't shake that. This is so stupid.
You said it a few times.
You did.
I said it out loud. That's
yeah,
all
absolutely.
I could think. It's just, this is the dumbest thing I've ever been a party of.
Yeah.
I'm a party to. This is stupid.
Yeah, people loved you, and they loved her, and they didn't
Oh,
know what
yeah.
else to do. So
No. I just meant like the minutia.
It just, yeah.
Oh, let's do mascara. Who cares?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Make sure
Does
it's waterproof.
Does this
That's all.
color match this color? It doesn't. None of
Right,
it
yeah.
matters. None of it matters. And
And there's an element to that is so true, and it's so easy to, and maybe a lesson in it. And one of the very few benefits of grief is understanding truly what is important.
oh
and
my
what
gosh,
isn't.
if you need to reprioritize your life,
Yeah, I mean,
lose a close loved one.
yeah,
It's an automatic thing.
Yeah.
The stuff that you think really matters and you get really hung up on
right.
doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't matter. One of the times, though, that we had to go to the funeral home.
That's what I was just trying to remember. So we went, a small group of us.
To sit in the office and talk.
Yes, and then we saw Bray.
That's right.
And
because
that was you. I stayed at the house to receive. I didn't go to that. So that was
And that-
my mom
that
was
was-
the one that asked. And they said, we highly discourage
Right.
that. Nothing's been prepared.
Right.
And she said, I don't care.
Yeah.
I won't recognize her prepared anyway. I want to see her. And so we did. I think Carrie said no.
Yeah.
And if somebody were to ask me, because actually a couple people have asked me, I have the chance to do this. What do you think I should do? And the advice I have given is, I don't know, because that image of her is burned into my brain. Among others, it doesn't override, but it is there. I can't get rid of that. Mm-hmm. So you have to ask yourself, can you live with that? Because it doesn't look like your kid.
That's where I'm with you, and I can't. That's why I couldn't go.
And when people always
And-
say, with funerals, they look so good, I've never understood.
I've never
people
seen-
say
I've never
that.
said that
I've never
ever
seen one.
because
But
they
people
are
say
not
that
them.
all the time. They're like, "Oh, they look so good," and people said that about
don't.
Bray after
No,
after.
she didn't.
I'm like, "Oh my gosh!"
She didn't even look like herself. It was worse than
It
that.
wasn't Bray.
And right.
I
and
mean-
I mean, no reflection on the funeral home.
No, no.
They did a lovely job or whatever, but
But
it was
who
a
does?
knockoff.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
was absolutely a knockoff.
Yes.
That was not my kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it was her vehicle that she used to walk
Right.
around in, but barely. It didn't look like her.
Yeah, because even when we went for the viewing, and
Yeah,
people
so-
came, I couldn't. I tried. I was like, you are.
Because you
being
stayed in the background.
So ridiculous. You are being such a wimp. You're such a. I was like really beating myself up, but
Yeah.
I was like, I cannot go over that. I cannot do it. I cannot.
I don't.
I will help when everybody's done and they're falling apart. That's me. I'll pick you up over here.
Mm-hmm.
Nancy Jo can stand over there with her. I couldn't do it. I'm
I
grateful today because
choose-
I don't have that image.
Right.
I remember her picking up clothes,
Yes.
put in the trash can with her toes.
With her
and
toes, yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember us having our little talks.
Yes.
That only certain things I could talk to her about. Nobody
Yes.
else on the planet.
Yeah.
I remember those things.
Yeah.
During that
Yeah.
time, I hate. I never choose to visit a body.
Right.
Never. And I certainly didn't want to with Bray, but I needed to. I didn't visit Bray's body. I stood beside the people visiting Bray's body.
Right.
Yeah.
And your mom, that was especially a time where she needed
She did
somebody.
need that. Yeah.
Because you and Harry literally leaned on each other. Liz and Mackenzie.
Oh,
But Nan was by herself.
right. Well, thank you
at
for
that
doing
time.
that. Yeah.
And,
And she had her own special connection with Bray.
she did.
She
Yeah.
did.
And so that it was at that point in time, and I think that's when Nan had brought cat ears and put them on Bray.
Yeah.
I think it was that first time.
Okay.
And then somebody went out and bought cat ears for all of us for the
Yes.
service.
Yes.
I forgot who brought them. I mean, she had a lot. I mean, Bray had
Was it
more cat
Jessica?
ears than any
It
human.
might have been
I
Jessica.
think it was Jessica.
It might have been.
I can't remember.
It could have been Teray. I don't remember either, but we had a bunch
So,
because we wore them.
right, and some did any have fur? They were all just the like the headband with the outline,
gold, yeah.
like the gold outline.
Yeah, I think
There were all
I
kinds.
think you wore one of Bray's.
Yeah.
I know Nan did.
And I,
don't
think
know
Nan
if I-
did.
yeah.
And I think that then there were just a whole bunch purchased.
Right. Yeah. Anyway, that
But I
wanted
mean,
to-
again, Bray had a collection
Right.
more than any human I've
Should.
ever met.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of games,
Yes. Oh my
cat
gosh.
ears, and Burt's Bees.
Toothbrushes.
Yeah, I'll say toothbrushes and toothbrushes.
That child had oral
Deodorant.
hygiene.
Yeah. She was
And
not going to
soup.
be.
Remember
Yes,
unpacking?
soup.
And she had she had soup
Yeah.
in a suitcase.
She was going to be clean and full.
And fed. Yeah. And entertained.
matter-
And
No,
entertained because
and
she had all
entertained,
those
that's right.
little tiny miniature games.
Miniature games, but everything you could imagine. And I just
That I didn't even know they made.
I didn't either.
Miniature Monopoly.
right. And
Like, how
this
would you
big.
play that?
I have no idea.
Certainly anybody over 50 couldn't.
She probably got a lot of joy out of just trying to manipulate the pieces.
Yeah.
That's probably half the game. But yeah,
But
I
yeah.
didn't. I mean, she was always very
hard.
clean. She didn't like sweat or spit or like just anything. She was extremely clean, but but I did not realize how. I mean, I think toothbrushing might have been a problem. Yeah. I mean, it was in every purse, and not just one that moved. Right? This is a toothbrush and toothpaste for that. This is for my duffel bag. This is for a suitcase. This is for, I mean, it's
My glove compartment.
Yeah, everywhere. So that was funny. Floss, all the things.
She always smelled so good.
Yeah. Yeah.
She was never going to be accused of bad breath.
You are,
and I never smelled. She never had any, as far as I knew.
One of the things I remember the first time we went to the funeral home, so two memories about that actually. I was sort of being guided, helped into the back seat of some vehicle. I don't know if my daddy was driving. My dad flew here, though.
I drove. Yeah. I was driving you
pretty
much
drove?
everywhere.
Okay.
And you and Harry were in the back. I think Robin was in the front with me.
Yeah, I was saying, I had my pilot, so I remember driving somebody because I used my third seat. It's the only time I've ever used the third seat in that car.
Oh, that's so
was
funny.
for the funeral.
Okay.
But I don't remember
funeral,
who all I had.
I know for sure you were in the back because
Okay.
we had went. I'm jumping ahead, but we had visited. More of the family had came in at that time, and so that was the official family visitation. That was the second time we had seen Bray.
We were at the funeral home.
Yeah,
Yes.
the second time we had seen Bray.
Yeah.
And Jessica's daughter.
Yes, Jenny.
Had a really, really hard time.
Yes.
And Nan again. And had a really hard time. And Harry was struggling a lot. And you were... but anyways, I drove you then to the funeral. And you and Harry were in the back seat. And we just got done seeing your daughter. And we're going to her funeral. And you lean up and you grab my shoulder and you said, "How are you, friend?" And I hurt so bad for you, and I couldn't do anything to make it better. I can drive, I can order flowers, I can arrange a funeral,
I clean the bathroom, whatever.
I mean, sign your shoes. I mean, and you're leaning up and asking me how I am. Your capacity for love amazes me sometimes.
Well, it's interesting the full circle because, especially over the past couple years, being on this journey and meeting other people and seeing how utterly alone they are. And how so many stories I hear of, I've lost everybody since losing my kid. We had a rift in the family. My other kids don't even talk to me. My friends have all gone. I mean, whatever. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. I'm so privileged to have such incredible friends. You guys have, there's no doubt in my mind I could call you at 3:00 in the morning on a holiday. You were going on some vacation with your family, but it was coinciding with some milestone. Maybe it was close to her birthday or something.
It was her birthday.
And you're like, before we fly, was it Costa Rica or something? Like you were going somewhere. I mean, like a real trip.
Yeah, that was the second anniversary.
Yeah, and you messaged me or called me and said, before I make these plans, before I buy our tickets, do you need me? Do you need me to be here? Like, who does that?
Right.
A year later, you know what I mean? But you both have been that way through the whole thing, and I do think that walking this terrible journey is so fragile that I think that every role you play is so critical. And it may feel like a little thing here or there, but it's critical. I have somebody that texts me about, it started out like every day, then it was a couple times a week, then it was once a week. Now it's like every month or so, which has been perfect. I'm not like, you should still be texting me every day. But just yesterday I got a text saying, just praying for a happy Friday for you, thinking of you, or something like that. And I texted her back and I said, you're so faithful to encourage me along the way.
Yeah.
And our kids grew up together, but and we had become friends in a very neighborly way, but it's not like we were best friends that
buddies.
did everything together.
Right.
You know, I know that if my kids ever need anything, she would be there. And I hope that she knows the same. If her kids ever needed anything, 20 years from now, if one of their kids, like one of her grandkids, shows up, I would be there for them. You know,
Yeah.
but just as it's not, my relationship with her is not like with y'all, and yet she still continues to be faithful. And I just have this amazing network of people, and I think that is so critical.
Yeah.
And so again, thank you, because it's.
There's nowhere else.
We love you.
Yeah, I know. I love you too.
Very
much.
much.
I love you too. But I just think that
I think I've another person that I know, not a close friend,
Yeah.
but another person that I know that has suffered a loss. Friends don't know what to do.
they don't.
You know, and it.
And I know y'all don't either, but
We
that's the
don't.
thing. You have borne that weight with such elegance and steadfastness, because it's not easy for either of you. You're both, you more than Robin, you are a fixer. You're a doer and a fixer. What's the problem? Here's three
Let me
different
plan
ways we can approach this.
I'm more like, what do you need?
Yeah.
I'll come alongside you.
I'm going to give you a hug.
There's
Well,
it.
well,
I'll
that-
cook for you and love you.
Yeah, but you'll also jump in the ditch.
Oh, I will, absolutely. If
Oh,
you're in
yeah.
there, I'm coming with you.
Right.
And make cupcakes on the way.
And make cupcakes on the way. You got it. You're going to have a pound cake later.
She is, and it's really good. So I mean, that does help a lot.
It does help, more than you know. But
Thank you.
that's the thing, is it's so frustrating because you can't fix it.
No.
Yeah.
But that has not scared y'all away.
No.
And that's what I keep seeing over and over and over, that it does scare people away.
They feel
My
helpless
friend
and
is
they don't know
sad,
what
I need to
do,
fix it.
So they detach.
Yes.
But
And I think it's
also
terrifying.
It's
Yeah.
it's hard because life still goes on.
Yes.
There's still the bill that needs to be paid,
Yes.
and the groceries that and my son still needs school
Well,
clothes.
the baby
and-
born.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Me, you
so
know,
it's hard because
grandchild.
balancing
For clarity.
Yeah.
but balancing out with you and being your friend through this journey, balancing out when to let life be the focus
Yes.
of our conversation,
Yeah.
and when
It needs to be about
it
Bray.
needs to be about Bray or your grief or where
Yeah.
you are.
Right.
Well, I just-
and balancing that out is easier with you, I think. So I think maybe it's been a two-way street. I mean, I'm hearing you that we have navigated that well, but
Yeah.
I think also too you've made it easy to
Yes.
navigate well, because you are really honest.
Yeah. I'll give myself that.
You are.
Very honest.
And
Very-
you are able to say, I can't talk about that today,
Right.
or I need to talk
need to
about
talk
Right.
this.
Yeah.
And I think that when you're in the midst of grief, sometimes people they don't even know what they need, let alone
Yeah.
be able to articulate
Right.
that.
And so often I don't.
Yeah.
For all the times I say that, just to be really clear, it's probably the majority of the time I don't know. And I'll be
and you'll
honest.
say that.
But you know,
Yes.
you need something, but you don't know what it is.
I don't know. I don't know. And there have been times, both of you, in your own way, have brought up something I wasn't ready for, or said it, or used words that were jarring. I wasn't ready. And I probably didn't react, I certainly didn't talk about it, but it still was good for me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It was good for me.
But I think too, you know how very much we love you.
Yes.
Yes. So we're
and
safe.
so we're
Oh, yeah,
you're
you're very
receiving that,
Yeah.
knowing the intention was love.
100%. And it's a me problem, not a you problem.
No,
So
no,
just to
but-
be clear,
yeah.
you've never done anything that was like, I can't believe she said that.
Right.
But
But that gave us latitude.
It did.
yeah, I can see that. I can
You
see
know,
that.
I didn't have to. So many times I think people try to find the right words. Well, there aren't any.
There are none. That's the thing.
There aren't any right words.
There are none.
And I knew that you knew
Yeah.
that we loved you, that
Yes.
we were going to say the wrong word.
Absolutely.
Because I'm human.
Right.
We were going to say things you weren't ready to hear.
Yes.
We were not going to say things you needed to hear.
Sometimes.
But all of that
Yeah.
was out of love
Yeah.
Right.
and care and
Right.
compassion and
About each
empathy.
other.
Yeah.
And I knew that even if I messed up, you were going to give me
I
that.
was
that
going to
grace.
say we would just heal through that thing and we'd get through that thing together.
And that
Yeah.
makes it easier
It
as a
does.
support person.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
I don't feel like, oh, I'm going to say the wrong
It's
thing
not
and
so
they're going to
easy
go
to-
off on me and they're going to hate me or, you know.
It's not so easy to be misunderstood or to mess up. Right.
Yeah.
Well,
and
and-
the consequences aren't so big.
If you were like just on point, and there has been some people who've grieved like this where they're so angry
Yeah.
that any words,
Right.
even with good intentions, will cause anger.
Right.
Can't be
And
received.
I could see as a support person for that person how you would feel like a bit of a minefield.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that would be hard to continue to navigate over years.
Right.
I think our support has been easy to give because it's never been that.
Yeah.
And I think it's never been that, just to bring this back, because of my understanding of my faith
Yes.
and that I just absolutely believe, even though I don't understand it, that there's some purpose. There's something.
Well, it's back to a foundation
And
of
there's something
friendship
good.
too with us.
Yes.
That from the beginning we laid
Yeah.
the groundwork
Yeah.
of certain things that we were and weren't going to do, and
Right.
that we love each other, and so we can say pretty much anything,
Right.
And know
Right.
that it's with good intentions, not
Right.
with malicious intent or anything.
No, we always assume the best of one another.
yeah, always.
Yeah.
And I had a grieving mom ask me not too long ago, because she's in a similar place as I am. She's very supported, and it is facilitating her journey. You know, I mean, even me in the position as the griever, it's so hard to find the right words. Because what do you say? Facilitating her healing. Well, to a point, not like to the point you're going to get over.
Right.
Right. But
You're never gonna
but
be fully
you can
healed.
function in it.
Right.
There's always a scab.
Yeah. And she asked me, she said, what do you think it is? Why do you think that you and I both have all this support? How is it? Because we both are so exposed to a number of people that don't. And I think that we both would say we're probably in the minority to have as much support as we have. And I had already thought about that. Why? But I think it comes from, she and I was just looking at patterns, right? I'm a emergent pattern girl.
Yes.
And so I was
Connecting the
thinking,
dots.
what do we have in common? Even though she lives in another state, she's
Has
really
a different job.
100%. She's a friend. I only know her through a family member. We've actually gotten so close through our loss, because she lost her daughter about a month after I lost mine. And, but I think that one of the things we have in common is lifelong, strong relationships. I mean, my best friend from high school called me within days of losing Bray and just wept on the phone with me from high school. I'm 52.
But that's a function too of the work. Relationships take work.
They do take work. They do take
And
work.
you are always willing to do the work.
Yes.
For a relationship, I am. You're right.
And so, I mean,
Not to build a house. I will not do that work. But to build a relationship, yes, I will.
but so it's not surprising that you've had,
Lifelong friends.
well, a higher than average support system because you've supported people higher than average.
Oh, I see. Maybe, see, I
poured
should
more
have
in.
just asked you because I could have given her the answer in one sentence. Not the 20 minutes
Please
it took
hold.
me
I have to call Nancy Jo.
Yes. Do you want a long answer or a succinct one?
Do you want an Nancy Jo or a
Nancy Jo.
Kristie?
Yeah. Oh, gosh. Yeah. Depends how much time they have.
Yes, exactly. Yours are much more eloquent.
Well, they're longer. We'll go with that. Thanks for watching this episode of Before and After. I hope it was as meaningful for you to watch as it was for me to make. Next time, invite a friend. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You can also follow me on other platforms. I've listed everything in the description.